Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Andrew, and I'm here to do my breakdown for My Hero Academia Season 6, Episode 5. And boy oh boy, was this a fantastic episode. So let's dive right into the breakdown and see what this episode did right. For starters, this episode covers multiple chapters in the manga, starting with chapter 267, pages 19 and 20, page 269, pages 15 through 17, chapter 270, page 19, the entirety of chapters 271 and 272, and it finally covers chapter 273, pages 1 through 11. And with the title of the chapter being The Thrill of Destruction, this was a very intense episode. For starters, there was no recap at all for this episode, so we primarily got reused scenes from the last episode starting off this episode. And how when it came to what we saw at the beginning of this episode, we once again get scenes of the police officers monitoring the entire situation of what's going on with the raid. And we do get to see a few new images of certain heroes fighting against the Nomus inside of Jaku Hospital, which is not necessarily seen in the manga. So once again, we get more interactions with these police officers in this episode, something that isn't in the manga, that really adds to the fact that this is a raid done by professional heroes and the police officers. But also, something else that I want to bring up is potentially a cut scene of All For One being in this potential episode. And how most likely where the scene this was actually cut from is actually replaced with a brand new scene where we actually get to see Exless destroy the machine that would quote-unquote wake up Shigaraki Tomura. And that is going to lead up to something, but also we get a lot of more fighting in the episode that we wouldn't have seen in the manga. For instance, we get to see very cool scenes involving both Endeavor and Crust doing things that we did not see in the manga, specifically getting a more detailed fight of Endeavor fighting Lady. And with those added scenes, we also get to see an added scene of Mirko attempting to stand up, showing how determined she is to continue fighting, even though at this moment she is too heavily damaged to do so. That is a very cool scene because it adds more to the character of Mirko and the type of character she is. And another scene that we do get in the episode that we do not get in the manga is that we really get to see Shigaraki Tomura kill Exless in plain sight. And how this is going to eventually lead to Shigaraki performing a very massive moment later on in the episode. But with this part of the story, we actually cut over to Dabi versus Hawks, where we get the continuation of their fighting, where it's revealed that Tokoyami was able to break out of Fat Gum's hold and fly to the rescue of Hawks. And this entire interaction between Hawks, Dabi, and Tokoyami was amazingly animated for this episode. And how when it came to this interaction, there were some scenes that we get in this episode that are not necessarily the exact same in the manga. Specifically, when it comes to seeing Hawks' back, we get a very clear image of his back and potentially get to see that his wings, even though are burnt to a crisp, are still there. Which is not necessarily something people would be able to lock onto in the manga as well as in the anime, so I'm going to point it out here. And something else I want to bring up is a new line of dialogue that separates Hawks' back from what was happening with his feathers, which is going to lead to something later on in the story. And there is also this added scene that I really did enjoy when we get to see Mount Lady fighting in the background as Dabi is giving his speech. That was not something that we saw in the manga, and it is a very cool addition. As well as we get that one scene starring Mount Lady that isn't changed at all, and I love it. Also, there's another potential cut scene in this episode involving an attacker going after Gang Orca, which is in the manga, but not in this anime scene. As well as another change when it comes to all of the heroes that gathered in the lab area, which in the anime is significantly smaller than what we see in the manga. But also coming from there, we get to a very crucial part of the episode, as well as a very crucial part of the manga, of Deku reacting to the fact that Shigaraki is alive. Because within the scene, we do get a little bit more of how the characters, specifically the students, are able to evacuate the area before we see Deku actually reacting to the fact that Shigaraki Tomura is alive. And what really made this entire scene pop is the music once again being very chilling and very malicious and negative to pinpoint that this is going to be a turning point against the heroes. Which is also punctuated with this one scene of the light going from green to red. good to bad. And as we get Shigaraki releasing his decay across this entire hospital, there is a lot that happens here, and a lot of it is animated extremely well. But something else I'd like to add is that there's also a cut scene, most likely from the anime, that is seen in the manga involving Wash actually helping with the evacuation while decay is spreading throughout the entire area. As well as in this entire section, we get to see Pixie Bob actually attempting to stop the decay alongside other heroes such as Deku as well as Shoto. And what is implied potentially in the manga is that Pixie Bob did die in this attack, but in actuality we get a scene of one of the Wild Pussycats, specifically Tiger, carrying her away as they escape decay. And like I said, once again, we get a little bit more of Tomura's destruction, but there's also something else that has changed at this moment. Because as we see Tomura remembering everything that went down and the capsules that he had Dr. Garaki made come to being destroyed almost completely, we see that his head is hurting and that the dialogue between the anime and manga has changed. And that the implication from the anime and the voice acting of All For One is showing that All For One is having a stronger influence on Shigaraki Tomura in the anime. But in the manga, there seems to be a little bit less clarity on whether or not the first initial voice is actually All For One or Shigaraki. But yeah, that's pretty much all I really have to say for the breakdown of this episode. Once again, My Hero Academia has delivered a banger of an episode with more bangers on the way. So if you'd like to see more content like this and you want to see me break down more episodes of My Hero Academia, don't forget to leave a like on this video, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz, and hopefully I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!